we are live.
Hey,
It's sweet, sweet.
welcome.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Akbarapam. We give you a warm welcome. It's Campbell.
This is TJ.
Yeah. And today we are going to talk about symbols, how they are represented in nature, and how much we don't know their correlation to even our lives, right? We're going to start with this. It's quite interesting. You start with the yin yang and the Fibonacci. So if you can see our screen, make sure you share, join the conversation. Today is TJ taking the floor.
Usually it's Campbell leading us
Right.
through, and I'm just asking him questions about his hypotheses, right? But there's a few bits and pieces of things that I've come across over the years
Right.
regarding Fibonacci, regarding symbols, and I think we can highlight some of them and just see where the conversation goes, what is sparked in our heads. I don't claim to be any kind of special, knowledge or whatever person, but I'm starting to get to a place where my eyes are open and my ears are open for hidden truth or truth in plain sight that can impact my life, that can mean something.
Right.
I'll give you a quick example. I think at some point in a future episode we might touch on some of this language history from Ghana.
Okay.
That I came across a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And very, very, very simple link here. So the gentleman in this particular video was explaining how the history of Egypt, and he said that Amen-Ra is the name of God.
Yeah.
It's one of the gods of Egypt. Ra was one of the gods of Egypt, and
Yeah.
Ra's full name is Amen-Ra. And he said some more sort of deep and technical things about different types of ways God is represented and what that meant. And they could be right, they could be wrong. But his claim was that when we say amen,
Yeah.
as at the end of a prayer, all till now, that started all the way back then.
Yeah.
From Amen. Amen, as in Amen-Ra.
Yeah.
So at the end of your prayer, you say Amen. And if you actually go to Nigeria, and I'm sure it's the same in Ghana,
Yeah.
they don't say Amen.
No.
They say Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
They say Amen.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, like, all these thousands of years later, there's all these Christians all around the world that are praying to their God. But how do you know they're praying to their God?
Exactly.
If at the end of their sentence, the sound that they're using is referencing someone called Amen-Ra.
Amen-Ra, yeah.
That they're not even considering. And that may be truth in plain sight. It may not be. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
But we gain knowledge in little bits and pieces, and we connect things together and see what understanding we may come to.
That's it.
So the yin yang symbol is should I say, okay, so let me even start here. You can say a lot with an emoji. Like you can express with that little surface area of space that an emoji covers in your text. You can communicate more than a word that could fit in that space.
Yeah.
you can communicate an emotion, a feeling, a situation, something with that symbol.
Yeah.
Um, Now, what if this symbol could communicate
Bombaclad!
something way
These
more
guys are
than,
spilling
what if that
all the
symbol could
beans.
packs
TJ
in
and Campbell,
way more
interesting to
information
blood clad.
than just a nice symmetrical shape that looks pleasing to the eye? That's a nice design that could decorate things, right?
Yeah.
I think this is one of the most powerful symbols that exist.
I
This yin
agree.
yang symbol.
Yeah.
So if we just talk about basic knowledge of yin yang, you've got the darkness
Yeah.
interacting with the light, but inside the darkness there is one piece of light, and inside the light there is one piece of darkness,
Right.
and they are making up 50%. It's perfectly balanced, half and half.
Mm-hmm.
So we are currently looking at, some Google images of yin yang symbols plus Fibonacci. So let's just focus on the black and the white round traditional yin yang that we all know.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that links to a relationship. Oh, okay, no, okay. Let's just let me put it like this. One color represents masculine, and one color represents feminine.
Okay.
This is not me just saying this. You can go and do any kind of research on yin yang,
Yeah.
and they'll say good and evil. They'll say masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
Right? Any kind of opposites.
Positive, negative. Yeah.
Okay.
Magnetism,
So
electricity. Yeah. Yeah.
let's just say that this represents masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
Right? So in that way, this symbol could represent a relationship.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one side is masculine and
Yes.
one side is feminine. Now, we don't need to get into a gender discussion, but just for now, let's just say male and female.
Yeah.
Masculine side, feminine side. Now, what if we were to make this balanced? The relationship forms a perfect circle.
Mm-hmm.
Notice that there is a time and a place within the masculine where feminine is needed.
Boom.
That's the dot.
Yes.
And there's a place within the feminine where masculine is needed. That's the dot.
Yes.
The opposite dot.
Yeah.
So let's say you've got a man who's acting, he's in his masculine, he's fulfilling all the things that he needs to, and he's taking on the masculine role.
Yes.
And the female's taking on the feminine role.
Yes.
Well, there might be a situation where, for example, let's think of hunter-gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
The man has left the female to go and hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and the female is with a young child, and the man is not there to protect masculine traits.
He needs to nurture.
So, and during that period,
mm-hmm.
the female is alone with the infant.
Okay.
And some predator comes to attack.
Oh, yeah. She needs to assume a masculine position.
She will assume the masculine position to defend the child.
Yeah.
But she's not best suited for that all of the time. And while the man is around, he just automatically holds that frame. He's on the lookout. His head is on a swivel. He's looking around. He's looking for, to be the protector, to be the masculine energy. And that gives the female
mm-hmm.
the opportunity to nurture and use her feminine and give the child. A child just needs nurturing from day one.
That's it.
The younger the child, the more nurturing they need.
Yeah.
the man also needs nurturing.
Yeah.
So his masculine is able to give her the opportunity to be feminine, and her feminine feeds back into his masculine, which you can start to see how this image represents that the more I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Now, let's say there's a situation where the female has left the man with the child,
Yeah.
and she's off, I don't know, bathing, or she's off doing something, or she's gathering. Yesterday the man was hunting, today she's gathering herbs, whatever she's doing, or she's tending to herself.
Yeah.
The man is now left with the infant.
Mm-hmm.
He now has to do what? He has to use the feminine. He has to be gentle,
Yeah.
compassionate,
It's to nurture.
caring,
Yeah.
kind. He has to use his feminine
Yeah.
with the child. He has to be soft and playful and understanding.
Yeah.
So the capacity is within us to do both.
Mm.
Now, what is happening is that we are defining new standards for relationships based on modern ideology that has only been around for a tiny, 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 tiny fraction of humanity.
Right.
So, let's say that humanity is a 1 meter ruler,
Mm-hmm.
a 1 meter tape measure.
Yeah.
So, okay, depending on how you want to count. So, about between 150 and 250,000 years
Yeah.
is how long they say humanity, as in the form of us, has been around.
Yes. Okay.
But
Yeah.
but if you want to talk about other types of humans,
Yeah.
that can stretch as far as 5 million years.
5
So
million?
it's not the same as who we are, but
Oh, okay. A different. Okay. Okay.
something that
Ooh.
if we reproduced with,
Yeah.
we could have offspring with, but it
Okay.
wouldn't
All right.
necessarily be Homo sapien.
Okay.
Some type of humanoid pre Homo sapien version of human.
Yeah.
That's 5 million years. And then you have things that are in us
Yeah.
that are also in animals, like the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So the nervous system goes back way beyond that, before I don't know how long, but millions and millions and millions of years.
Right.
And has persisted all the way through us. So there are things that the nervous system controls that is hundreds of millions of years old, right? That we still and listen, I may be getting my timelines wrong, but the overall picture, you get what I'm saying.
I get it. Yeah.
The last 100 years, if we let's just stick with the 350,000 years. I heard someone describe it like this. Imagine a book with 300 pages.
Right.
So each page represents 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So the TikTok era would be like less, and imagine those pages are full of writing.
Yeah.
So if we want to define the TikTok era, it would be less than the size of the final full stop on the last page.
Yeah, that means it's so recent that it's almost irrelevant.
Right. In fact, the last modernity, which we can say since agriculture is 12,000 years.
Yes.
So the last 12 pages of the book, the last 12 pages of the book
Yeah.
are just are like the pyramids were built. Um, Farming happened then.
Yeah.
Prior to that, we were just hunter gatherers.
Hunter
For the
gatherers. Yeah.
whole rest of the book, we didn't have farming. We had very rudimentary tools.
Yeah.
We were just, uh, hunter gatherer guys, or
Yeah. Yes.
even
Not
more
as
primitive.
sophisticated. Yeah.
Right. So just the last 12 pages is where we've got things like
The
everything
wheel,
from
electricity,
right,
of
all of
that
that. And
communication. Yeah.
even that electricity is only what the
Yeah. It's
last
from,
page.
yeah. Was it the seventh? No, 1800s, like with Benjamin
Right.
Franklin, and yeah.
So that would be the last two lines of the
Right.
last page in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that there are ideas that are in the last few words of that book,
Yeah.
time wise, that we think are smarter than concepts that have existed beyond the beginning of the book.
Right. Yeah.
It is my contention that this symbol expresses truth that goes beyond the beginning of that book.
Mm.
So so this thing of balance, I can be a single mom and I can be the mom and the dad, and I can raise my child to be, in an optimal way.
Yeah.
If you're a single mom and you work really hard, it's commendable. I don't know your such situation,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult to raise a child. But we're now in an era where people choose to be single parents as
Yeah.
opposed to some unfortunate situation happen
Yeah.
because they're saying this masculine and feminine balance is no more. It doesn't
Mm.
work. This
Mm.
this symbol doesn't work. What this symbol should be is like just one side.
Okay. So you're saying that what is happening now is wrong. They should incorporate this symbol more into their
Well,
philosophy.
a little bit of sort of a shallow view. Okay, so one of the things that society has got now is kind of the situation where women are quote unquote equal, or strive, whether you think they're equal or there is equality or you don't think there's equality.
Yeah.
There's this concept that men have always sort of had it good, and women have been sort of under the foot of men.
Yeah.
And now women are just are either fighting for or just achieving an equal footing with men.
Hmm.
And now women can do the things that men do. And a lot of this is based around economics. Like, I can do the job that a man does.
Yeah.
I can get paid the same as a man, blah, 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 blah. And in some regards, they're not wrong. And I don't really have a major issue with it. But where I have the issue with it is that it's just one dimension of existence, like the workforce or government
Yeah.
are just narrow channels of
Yeah.
existence. And
Yeah.
our existence is way more than that. And in the broad scope of existence, we've always needed this balance and this symbol for our success,
Yeah.
which is actually men and women working together to push forward humanity.
I agree.
We cannot push. The only way we got here, in my opinion, is using this balance.
Yeah.
If we just want to talk about jobs, or we want to talk about certain narrow aspects, you can say, okay, men have had it better. But I push back against that. Men have mastered the masculine,
Yeah.
and they've excelled in the masculine. So if we're going to talk about the masculine, yes, men have it better. And the masculine talks about is regarding it sets people up to be competitive,
Yeah.
sets people up
Protective.
to be protective,
Yeah.
sets them up to build and create
Yeah.
the things,
Mm-hmm.
be interested in things
Yeah.
and structures and systems. Well, feminism isn't feminist. The feminine is not set up for that. The feminine is set up for nurturing. The feminism is set up for better relationships, for being more interested in people. And this is
Mm.
well documented in modern psychology,
Mm.
but it doesn't make a good TikTok necessarily, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and anyone that's interested in maintaining a victim mentality,
Yeah.
um, it's so easy just to say, oh, men have got it good, blah, blah, blah. You know, like men were slaves, just
Yeah.
like women were.
Yeah.
Men's suicide rate is higher than females right now.
That's right. That's right.
Men are more likely to have violent crime committed against them.
Yeah.
Men are more likely to go to jail.
Yeah.
Men are more likely to have longer sentences when they go to jail. Men are more likely to do all the dangerous, dirty jobs that no one wants to do, like cleaning the gutters,
Yeah.
like jobs that are highly hazardous, like being a fireman, being in the army, being
Yeah.
in the North Sea, drilling oil in cold and freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
Yes, in modern life, woohoo, women, you can go and do it too, but they don't want to.
If
They
given a
don't want to.
choice, yeah, women would rather, yeah,
Given a
nurture,
choice.
choose nursing, careers, things that are more like staying closer to people. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the societies where people have been given the most freedom to choose whatever they want,
Yeah.
men and women divide themselves even more into those categories.
Yeah.
So women choose more nurturing fields
Yeah.
in the labor market, and men choose more masculine fields.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to get away from that. And why is it hard to get away from that? It's not because of the patriarchy. It's because of this symbol. It's who we are.
Yeah.
It's who we are, and it's who we've been for millions and millions of years. Now, this symbol, if you look at the first image, you can see that there's other lines drawn inside of it. And if you look at the third image, there's red lines drawn inside of it, right?
Right.
So these lines correlate with the Fibonacci symbol.
Okay.
If you look at the red
The
one,
golden ratio,
the
Fibonacci.
golden
Yeah.
ratio, all
Yeah.
of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This golden ratio is linked to so many things that
Yeah.
I can't even tell you all of them.
Speed of light. So many. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's even in the way that we appreciate what is attractive in a partner's face.
Yeah. I think it's also known as pi.
It's also known as pi.
Yeah. 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 The Greek letter pi. Yeah. Yeah.
So this symbol is the historians say 600 BC is when this symbol started appearing in Asia. So this symbol itself is already pretty old.
Yeah. That should be so 600 BC. What, 600 before Christ?
Yes. So
Okay, that would be during like Greco-Roman times. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's and it's probably even older than that.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that it's a Fibonacci image,
right?
The fact that it's a Fibonacci image means that it's existed within nature since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Because this Fibonacci stuff is in nature everywhere.
Yeah.
it's in the stars, it's
Yeah.
in our plants,
Yeah.
it's in
Yeah. In
everywhere.
our
It's everywhere.
bodies, the ratio between
Right.
hands, head, torso.
So
Yeah.
this symbol, can you see the rectangles and then the
Yeah.
spiral
Yeah.
and the golden ratio? So we see a rectangle in a rectangle in a rectangle,
Yeah.
and then where the rectangle points meet, you
Mm-hmm.
can draw these curves that create a spiral, and
Yeah.
then that spiral can make up a portion of the yin yang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So okay, now there's an image of just this golden ratio rectangles and squares. Could you could you go that? It's one of the next images along on the same page.
So,
I think it's got like a blue.
so this one.
Yes, let's have a look at that. Okay.
So
So
there's a
the masculine,
formula down there. Okay.
I can't see the formula actually from here, but
Um.
there's a the masculine is the straight lines,
Sorry.
right?
Say
So
that
imagine you're
again.
starting,
Yeah.
let's say you're starting in the middle of the spiral
Okay.
and you want to get to the bottom left hand of the big rectangle.
Okay. Yeah.
You can choose two paths to get there.
I don't know if our viewers can see my mouse, but basically, if this was the snail's house, let's call it, the very center where the coil starts from, that is where you're saying, yeah, if I want to
Yeah,
start from
where the
there.
coil is tightest,
Okay, yeah,
if we start there, you can get to where the coil is loose, widest
yeah, okay,
in two ways.
okay,
You can either follow the path of the coil
yeah,
round,
okay, yeah.
or you can follow the squares. And
Mm.
at every corner,
Oh, okay, I get it.
the coil meets the square,
Yeah.
but then they veer away and then they meet again. And every time they meet, it represents like the angle where the coil curves.
Oh, this is okay. Is this something you came up with, or did you see it anywhere? Because it's quite interesting.
Well, I saw it, but it just blew my mind a little bit
Yeah,
because this means that this is also yin yang,
yeah,
but in a different form. But it's the same image, and this image fits yin yang.
exactly.
So at the points where the curve meets the straight line,
Mm-hmm.
that is where that represents the dot inside, like the white dot inside the black, or the black dot inside the
Inside the
white.
white. Yeah.
And at the points where the lines veer from each other,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you go into the mass.
All black, all white.
Right. So if we're following the spiral,
Yeah.
that would be the feminine path.
Right.
And if we
Right.
follow the square, that would be the
The
masculine
masculine
path.
part.
But if we are aligned, we get to the same destination. We're in balance, we're in correlation, and
Mm-hmm.
we get there. Now, the idea is that along the spiral path,
Yeah.
if we were to take the spiral path, we would be using methodology, and we would be coming across something that is not in the path of the masculine. We're taking a different path. We're having a different experience. We're gleaning different thing. We're practicing a different method. But ultimately, we realign ourselves with the masculine, and before we go back on into the feminine. And the same is true for the masculine. And I think this is how relationships work. You need that balance.
Yeah.
You guys are heading to the same destination together,
Yeah.
but there's times when the feminine needs to inform, and there's times when the masculine needs to inform.
Yeah.
And the masculine and feminine come together, and they sort of calibrate each other and say, look, you take the lead in this situation, and in the masculine,
And
I
then
take the
yeah,
lead in this situation, and
yeah.
you balance things out and you move together.
Mm.
Now, if
Okay.
you're in a relationship right now,
Yeah.
or you don't have a relationship right now, is it because you're not adhering to the message of this symbol?
Hmm.
If you're trying to be all feminine, woman power,
Yeah.
or you're trying to be a woman that is trying to be all masculine,
Yeah.
if your natural inclination is to be feminine, as much
Hmm.
as you try and walk the straight path,
Yeah.
you're guided by the feminine direction,
Sure.
and the
Yeah.
same goes the other way.
Yeah.
So if you want a robust relationship, a balanced relationship, a relationship that works, a relationship that's long lasting,
Mm-hmm.
you need both
Both, yeah.
parts
Masculine
to
and
be.
feminine, yeah, energy.
um and that kind of breaks the modern ideologies. um i I would like just to drill back down on that point. Could you type in Fibonacci in nature?
Right, give it a second. Yeah, this is quite interesting because in the words of my father-in-law, he would say it's like God and the devil working together. So they
I
all lead
mean,
to the same place, but yeah, they might take different paths. Right. This is Fibonacci in nature.
so
Mm,
it is my contention
yeah.
that this is a fundamental truth of existence.
But this is you can't contest this. It's literally yeah.
So we must, I mean, and if we go back to my definition of God,
Yeah.
so my definition right now, my working definition of God, and I say working definition because I am open to listening to anyone's opinion
Yeah.
and trying to gain better insight.
Yeah.
But I've come to the conclusion, I was raised in a Christian household, and the definition of God for me that was presented to me through traditional Bible teachings of Christianity
Yeah.
is insufficient, in my opinion.
That's true.
It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to discuss this with anybody that wants to discuss. It's not a personal thing. I'm not attacking. I'm just saying it doesn't correlate with me.
It's
So
not
I've been trying
complete for us. Yeah.
to me, yeah, it's not incomplete.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Christian version is filled with masses of truth, but I think
Mm-hmm.
the interpretation of a being
Yeah.
is just an idea to try and help explain a bigger concept.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for me, that bigger concept is sort of the laws and rules of reality, or
Mm.
the framework by which all reality sits in.
Yeah.
So and that's even not a deep enough explanation. But if you think of every dimension of existence,
Yeah.
from physical to spiritual, or let's not, before we say spiritual, whatever the realm of consciousness is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that realm is, but I think it could be that consciousness and spiritual is one and the same.
Yeah.
So the realm of consciousness, what goes on in your mind, how you
Mm-hmm.
can conceptualize, you can imagine tomorrow in your mind.
Yeah.
You can paint a picture of yesterday. You can make a movie in your mind. You can fly in your mind. You can do all of these things. You can feel down internally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All of these things. So all of these dimensions that exist, the micro level, like, physics changes at the tiniest quantum level. Things
Yeah.
interact differently with each other.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the same is true if we go to like the size of the universe, like, so here we have in nature the expression of a law of nature,
Yeah.
which is this Fibonacci sequence. And that is an expression, in my opinion, of God, of the law of the rules and the existence of reality. And if we try to live outside of that existence,
Yeah.
if we try to go against that law,
We commit sin.
we commit sin. That is the definition of sin.
Yeah.
And I don't mean sin like, oh, now you're going to go to
Yeah.
hell and burn for a damnation.
You've stolen
I
and
think,
yeah. Yeah.
I think it means that your life won't function as well as it could be. Your relationships won't work.
Yeah.
You might end up poor, broken, alone, and without friends, and
Mm-hmm.
living a misery
Yeah.
and being tortured by your thoughts and mind,
Hell on earth.
or here on earth in the spiritual.
Yeah.
And maybe that even continues beyond the death of the body. Who
That's
knows?
true. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And the same goes the other way. If we live in line with nature,
Yeah.
then things start working out for us. Our relationships work, our connections work. We have a more optimistic mindset. We make connections with people. And maybe that positivity continues beyond the grave. Who knows?
This is actually interesting because I was reading this book recently, the autobiography of a yogi, and I recommend everyone to read it at least once in their lifetime. And so there's this yogi in India. He discovers, he realizes that he has this affinity to all spiritual things. So in India, they have a yogi system, and their support. These gurus kind of take on these kids, teach them the path and everything. So he was asking one of his gurus, and he was talking about these three worlds. You have the spirit, the physical, the astral, and the causal world, right? And
Okay.
everything spirals down from the causal into the physical. But now he was explaining that given physical words, okay, so like this golden ratio, yeah, the Fibonacci sequence that we have now in nature, okay, this comes from a world beyond ours. So using our words to explain this will always mean we use physical things, and that's what a lot of people think, oh, you're idol worshipping. Don't know if that makes
Okay.
sense.
When you say a world beyond ours,
Yeah.
can you drill down a little bit into that? What do you
So
mean? What do you think you mean?
based on everyone's belief system, we understand that things spiral down from you have basically before you take an action, you have a thought of taking the action, right?
Right.
So in the same way, before things manifest on this plane, before we see a plant, there is the thought of a plant.
Right.
In I would say on the plane of the yin yang dynamic. Yeah, so this would
Okay.
be I would locate it in the causal, wherever we can, because it's so abstract that I can't even, I don't know how to give it words. So now,
It is abstract.
yeah, this is where all of that stuff is. So a plant might not necessarily be a plant, it might be some sort of vehicle, and this is not, we're not trying to, but it's all quantum physics, right? So, but then this is how we will perceive it on this plane, on the physical plane. It will, be a plant, it will be a shell, it would be a house, and etc. etc. It will be a human. But on other planes, it represents something else. So I don't want to take it
Okay.
away from you, but what I was saying
No,
is
no,
that
no.
you see this representation that you just showed, and you're saying, okay, now this Fibonacci sequence is God, okay, which I would understand because of the journey that I have taken and the things that I've had to learn. You and I would understand this, but for someone who hasn't come into contact with all this, he would think you're saying, oh, the shell is God, so you're praying to a shell now, or the stone is God, or the plant is God.
Right, right.
They kind of still have this physical level of seeing things rather than going further on into the abstract. I always say these people need, I don't know, acid or some weed or some I don't know, mushrooms or something to just shake, dissolve that
Well,
wall.
I think that the problem is language. I think
Okay.
that half the problem is language. Something, for example, we say stuff that we don't even know how deep it is so
Exactly.
often.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um, I,
agree.
an example of this is I was watching a Netflix series,
Hmm.
and a guy, and the main protagonist in the series
Yeah.
was in a difficult situation, and he was telling someone, I will do this thing. The
Okay.
word, and the word I want you to focus on is I will.
I will.
I will. Okay.
Okay.
Will. Let's take will. Will power.
Mm-hmm.
How strong is your willpower? So when you associate that will, I will,
Yeah.
and you associate it with willpower,
Yeah.
then there's another sentence. God wills it.
That's it.
Your willpower, I will, God wills it.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I will, is that a prayer?
I think it is. Yeah.
You haven't done it yet, right? If you haven't done it,
Yeah.
it's not
It's
guaranteed.
in the future. Yeah.
So you're telling yourself and you're telling others, you're declaring,
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
And then you go and put action behind it.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone just brushes past I will, right? And
Yeah.
say it just means that I'm going to go and do something. That's
Mm-hmm.
I will do this. Just means I'm going to go and do something. But you whether you say it or you don't, you declare it
You've kind
either
of
in your mind.
commanded something within you
Yes.
to fulfill it.
Yeah, I will do this.
Yeah.
It's a prayer. It's like a prayer.
That's it. Yeah.
And you're not necessarily praying to, Jesus or a man with a beard in the sky.
You're
Um,
declaring it. Yeah.
you're declaring it.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm trying to say when it's like the language, the way we use language now. I think
These
it
guys are
stifle.
spilling
It can
all the
stifle,
beans.
or
Yeah.
it can
TJ and
illuminate,
Campbell,
depending on how
interest
deeply we
into
think
blood
about how we
clot
use it.
Mm-hmm.
live
And
on YouTube.
I
You
don't know. I
have to
brought that
check
up
them
because of
out.
something you just said, and I've forgotten what it was.
Something
About
concerning
I don't know. This
what
is we're now struggle streaming now that I've said that we've forgotten.
was it?
But
Something
yeah,
to do with God,
like
people?
like God is not the shell.
Right.
Like God is not the shell. God is
Absolutely
not the
not.
part.
Yeah.
God is not the actual image.
Yeah.
It's a representation of like
S-
what God
Balance,
could be,
universal. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or and almost a message from God.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. That's the word. A message. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a message from God,
Yeah.
and we see it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We act it out. We do it. We speak it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We speak it. I will.
Hmm.
We do this stuff all the time, and we have no idea what we're talking about
That's
in
true.
terms of this kind of idea of like God, spirituality, or this working definition of God and holiness and righteousness
So
that
true.
I've been trying to define for myself and
Yeah.
get a better hold of. Um, so yeah, I think this is a powerful concept, and
Hmm.
I would just if it works on a relationship level, but it works on many, many, many planes. So
Hmm.
you mentioned electricity.
Yeah.
It is evident that if you do not connect an electrical circuit with the right positive and negative in the right using positive and negative, like if you put a positive with a positive and a negative, it's not going to work.
That's true.
So nature is telling you you're not following the Fibonacci sequence here,
That's it. Yeah.
because the Fibonacci sequence represents masculine and feminine, and it could also, and that is the same as a positive charge and a negative charge in electricity.
Right.
So how many more other things? It must be It's everywhere. It's in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Thoughts and
And
actions, emotions and feelings.
if
Yeah.
you wire an electrical system wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that is sin. It's not sin in the terms of penance and sin and God and
Yeah,
that.
you
But
don't
what I'm
get the
saying is,
full benefits of.
you
Yeah.
yeah, the outcome that you want won't happen,
Right. Right.
and there's no disputing it. It won't work. Nature will just not act on your behalf
Right. Yeah.
in accordance with you.
Hmm.
Bomba clutch.
This is deep, you
These
know.
guys are
Oh man. So okay, so to wrap it up, together with our previous episodes on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, on the pyramid, still correlated to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and to self-actualization. How can we put this golden ratio, or the yin yang? Because it's fine. We need to incorporate a bit of feminine into our
Okay,
masculine, a bit of
can
masculine
we
into our
can we
feminine,
go back to Google? Can we go back to Google images?
right?
Can we put in Maslow's hierarchy of uh is it hierarchy of needs?
Yeah, Maslow's. Right. Okay.
Okay, so right here we see a pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid, so let's take this one with the yellow, right?
Is it this one?
Okay, let's take the one you're clicking on. That's fine.
Okay.
So at the very top is self actualization.
Actualization. Yeah.
Okay, right. Fantastic. In the blue.
Right.
So only I think that this is I think first of all you can find triangles in the golden ratio if you want to look.
Yes. I mean, so what I understand from what I saw, if you took the triangle and you took the very center, okay, of the triangle, the spiral would then be able to encompass the whole triangle. I think this
Yes.
is seen better in the Vitruvian Man by Leonardo.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same as the Jewish symbol.
Yeah.
The two
The Star
triangles
of
are
David.
opposing
Yeah.
each other. Right. Okay. So this tip of the triangle
Mm-hmm.
at the top, the blue cap,
Mm-hmm.
this is also the place of enlightenment.
Desire to
And
become the most. Yeah.
most people are not able to see that because they haven't got the physiological needs sorted. They haven't got their safety needs sorted.
Right.
Or if they do, maybe they don't have their love
And
and
belonging.
belonging or their esteem
Ooh.
and etc. Right?
True.
So once you've stacked all of those, only then do you reach the top of the pyramid. And the higher you get up the pyramid, the less people come with you on that journey.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So then let's go to the Illuminati pyramid.
We're diving into the conspiracy here, right? I'm always weary about this Illuminati. That word has kind of become redundant. Let's see. Right.
Now, is this pyramid not telling you that only a few people will reach the top? And once you're at the top, you will see beyond everyone that is below you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Freemasonry use it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this to me it seems like, I don't know, but it seems like Freemasonry is devil worship. As in literally they do we don't need to get into that, but I'm not saying that Freemasonry has the answers here.
Right.
I'm just talking about the symbol of the image.
Yeah.
There is something interesting around the idea that at the top there is an eye.
Yeah.
and it's the top is the same place as where self-actualization happens in Maslow's
Happens.
law of needs.
Yeah.
So there's something interesting about the fact that the Egyptians built this structure many, many times over, and a
Yeah.
lot of ancients built this structure. And what maybe this is the place of true righteousness. It's the place you get to once you recognize that you're living in the Fibonacci spiral, and
Yeah.
you're following the path correctly, and you're living in balance, and that you notice it and you see it everywhere. And when you get there, the world opens up to you. And that's how you reach self-actualization. And when you're at the top, you can do things that other people can't do. You can see things other people can't see. You can achieve things other people can't achieve, or the masses can't achieve.
Yeah.
And whether the Egyptians knew it or not, whether the Freemasons know it or not,
well, a lot of Freemasonry, the whole Hermetic philosophy comes from Egypt, and we also found this out that it's hand in hand with West African spiritual practices. So it's all one and the same. Yeah.
It's all one and the same.
Yeah.
So everywhere you go, you're seeing the same kind of images.
Yeah.
Your speech, even your speech, makes the image. The nature makes the image.
Yeah.
Every plane of existence that we can think of, these images and symbols appear. So if we go with the logic where I started, if we look at the image and model our relationship on that image of balance,
Yeah.
we in our relationship can start living at the top of that pyramid. If we do that in our day-to-day lives, and if we seek to find how to get to the top of the pyramid, our day-to-day lives, we keep our eyes open, we whatever, things open up for us, things improve. Look at I've just seen at the bottom, debt slaves.
Debt slaves. Yeah, that was, my eyes went straight onto that image. Yeah, that is so interesting that they would put debt slaves at the very bottom, and that is in line with physiological needs and on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So birth, school, labor, taxes, debt, retirement.
Imagine this works not just for your finances and your economic value, but your mind. When you're a slave in your mind, you just follow the crowd. You just don't even know that you're not self-actualized.
The rhythm, yeah. You're just following the 9 to 5.
Bro. Now, the only thing I want to know is how close to the truth am I with this idea, with these concepts that we're talking about? And how can I get more in line in my day-to-day life, in every aspect of my life? Because I wonder if one day you just get there and suddenly it's like, oh, you sort of float through the world.
That's
right?
it.
You can walk through walls and your bank account just gets filled. And your relationship,
yeah.
Like I'm wondering how much of that is there to be had once you really get hold of these types of concepts.
And if I may add to that, I think to be able to transcend physical needs would also mean, being self-actualized, because we said, okay, cool, it's either you're born with some type of, I don't know, advantage that can set you up to climb the ladder, Maslow's pyramid of needs. If not, you need to hack it if you're at the very bottom, right? And what I think hacking it means is to be able to transcend the needs that you think you have, because you need to be able to identify yourself as a soul, not just as a body. So the soul, if we go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the soul doesn't need food, the soul doesn't need shelter, the soul, but these things are weird to even think about if you're if you're rational. Do you understand? If you're still thinking with this carnal mind.
Could you click on the one with the man climbing? Did you see that?
Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
What do you think the hardest point of climbing is?
I think it's going beyond physiological needs.
I think the hardest or the most difficult part of the climb,
Yeah.
maybe not the most difficult part of the climb, but like, so the angle is constant. The upward angle is constant.
Right. Yeah.
So the more lower down the pyramid you are,
Yeah.
the further you have to climb,
Right.
because some people are going to be sort of almost born into the middle levels.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you would have your physiological safety needs, so you just have to sort your love and belonging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other people are like, and you know, I've I think of my friend. I've got a friend from Dominican Republic,
Okay.
and he died a few years ago. He's
Oh,
about 10 years younger than me,
raw.
and um, he wasn't an educated guy.
Bucklet. These guys are spilling
He was
all the
from very
beans.
poor. When I first met him, his house, how do I describe it? Imagine a bomber's hit a house,
Okay.
and now like one of the top rooms in the house, there's no roof on
Yeah.
one side of the house, and one of the top rooms you can walk into, but a whole quarter of the walls are missing, so that you're just, as you walk into the room, part of the room is just exposed. There's no wall, there's no balcony, just you could just fall out of the house
It's like a shack. Yeah.
like a shack. It was like a brick structure, but there was like one part of the house where there was no side walls
Yeah.
and no roof, and like it's like a bomb had hit, and like a whole chunk of the house was missing
What's missing?
in a corner, right?
Right.
This is the house you grew up in. No running water, no electricity.
Hmm.
And so he died, right?
Okay.
And he died of well, he had AIDS,
Hmm.
right? And he didn't die of, you don't die of the AIDS, but you die of all the stuff that comes along with your
Yeah.
immune system being low.
Yeah.
And he was sort of in his last days. He was mad. He had something growing in his head, and it was affecting his thing. He went mad. He had these cuts and boils on him that weren't healing and were bleeding, and he basically had AIDS.
Right.
I realized he didn't die of AIDS. He died of the ignorance that comes from the place that he came from. And this is no slight on Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
He came from the shame of admitting. Part of it was the shame of admitting that he might have AIDS. So a few years had gone by and he'd never addressed the issue. And then this sort of like when I first met him, he was like, I don't use a condom. And I was like, why? And he told me all of these sort of like old wives' tales on why, you don't need to use a condom. I just pull out. AIDS is not really, just like these kind of like hood definitions,
myths. Yeah.
hood myths. And then even when he now was like admitting it, he was going to get like this kind of herbal treatment, like if you rub this and on yourself 3 times and you this, and really he just needs to go see at the hospital. People live their whole life now with HIV.
Yeah, you can go on PrEP and that. Yeah,
it was like this ignorance that was like he was born into. His mum had it, his brothers and sisters had it, and his community had it.
Yeah,
and then he was born into poverty.
Yeah.
Even if he went to the doctor, he'd be fitted with a huge bill.
He wouldn't be able to
and
afford it. Yeah.
he can't afford the stuff, and he's this, and it was just like poverty killed him, his mindset killed him, his all of this stuff. No, nothing I could say to him was getting through in all the
Right.
time when he still had a chance, before he had
Mm.
AIDS, before he whatever.
Yeah.
Nice guy, loving guy, would and that is the definition of the person who was born into the bottom of that pyramid.
Mm. Hmm.
You know,
Debt.
you get
Yeah.
someone like Magic Johnson,
Yeah.
who apparently doesn't have AIDS anymore,
Mm-hmm.
had the means, had the love of a nation, had the
Resources. Yeah. Support.
resources,
Yeah.
had the ability to go to any level of educated person to get knowledge
Yeah.
on how best to combat his situation.
Yeah.
And you know, he is functioning at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what happened to what? I thought he had a deadly disease that could never be cured. Well,
Yeah.
not when you're at the top of the pyramid.
Last
When
time I
you're at
checked, he
that
was
top,
even donating blood.
bro, and he's created a whole business where he gives these home HIV tests.
Mm.
So he's trying to, I guess, help others become self-actualized through that method.
We might have to do a whole episode on the HIV virus, AIDS, because I think our community might benefit a lot from this education. I read a book by Gary Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test, and he goes quite in depth on this. And this also has a correlation with the new Germanic medicine. I don't know if you've heard something about that.
I have not.
Wait, let me get the real word. German new medicine, sorry. Yeah. And the five biological laws. It's a bit of that underground stuff. We're gonna talk about all of this. Maybe we have an upcoming episode with a an urban herbalist, a naturopath. He might be able to enlighten us a bit more on this subject. But yeah, I think really sorry about this. Your friend, does he have a name?
I don't want to say it.
All right. So we're keeping his privacy, and yeah, really sorry about these events and everything. And we've been to the Dominican Republic. We know the stigma that's behind sexually transmitted diseases. We know the lifestyle that a lot of these people live. So I also think, for instance, before I follow my train of thought, I was offered sex since we're still, we're past PGR timing. Okay. I was offered sex on every corner in DR. I had moms even saying, look, I've got a daughter. She's got straight hair. She's got a beautiful body. If you want to take her, this is her picture. She'll be here tomorrow. Stuff like that. That was just happening to me on a random
What
basis
year
in
was
DR.
that?
Pardon?
What year was that?
This was 2010.
Because the DR that I experienced in like 2008,
Yeah.
2000, 2009, 2010 is not the DR that I've experienced in the last few years.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I think social media has changed the way in which a girl from the lowest economic thing would meet a person from another country, and that guy would be like revered, and they would just it's like there's a footballer or some celebrity there. She would get excited. Now it's like she's already got 100,000 followers because she shows her bum on Instagram, and the novelty is not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't let me keep you. Don't let me. Nevertheless, sex is still very much for sale in that place.
Yeah,
Let me
right.
not
Yeah.
distract you from the point.
So I also understand that, being promiscuous in these situations where you're offered sex left and right, some people might try to take advantage of it and, have a, how would I call it, have a greater feeling by not using protection. So now this is also missing the mark. It's being, you know, nature doesn't usually take advantage of certain situations. I'm trying to be a bit philosophical here, but these things happen because we abuse a physiological need which we're not meant to. The
You're you're
sickness.
you're messing with one. You're overindulging.
Exactly.
You're out of balance,
Yeah.
or you're worshipping one of those
Off
gods
balance.
of deadly
Exactly.
sin.
Yeah.
One of the seven deadly sins. You're worshipping.
Boom. Yeah. Let's bring up the seven deadly sins. That's massive as well. Yeah. You've just gone and you're stuck in this. For those who are familiar with anime, in this genjutsu, and
Genjutsu.
this is what happened. Yeah. This is what happens. So what I want, I guess, to wrap it up with the train of thought and everything, is that look, it's actually the anime that comes up. This is mad. To wrap it up with what I was talking about is that, yeah, being at the bottom, means that you're in a constant cycle of these needs. So you overindulge either in food, overindulge in pleasure, overindulge in lust, because you just think that's all there is. You don't actually think, oh, there might be, I don't know, safety, love and self-esteem, or even self-actualization. Some of these people don't know there's something other than that. I was reading Etienne de la Boétie, an early French political analyst, and he was making the case that why do people still serve tyrants? Why do people obey governments? Why do people bend over to people that really don't care about our most immediate needs? They only satisfy their own needs. And first of all, he makes the case that within the human brain there's a default slave kind of, and these people know how to activate it. So they give us tititainment, these little toss the bone, give them the Colosseum, give them the World Cup and all these things, and people think that we've actually achieved massive progress. But other than that, he makes the claim that people are actually stuck in these cycles, in these seven deadly sin cycles, and they don't actually know that they could do without a government, or they could progress on this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He doesn't call it Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but he kind of sets it there as an idea that most people don't know what there is after have eaten, after having had sex, and after having shelter. They just think it's another repetition of all these things.
This is just bringing up so much thoughts to my mind.
Rah.
If you are born at the bottom of the pyramid,
Yeah.
geographically,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, educationally,
Mm-hmm.
on all fields,
Mm-hmm.
how often are you going to be running into someone that's truly self-actualized? They don't live down there.
Right. Right.
So you don't even have access. Like, if you're Magic Johnson's son,
Yeah. You have no.
like
You're not going to the barrio. I know. Yeah.
he's giving you direct access.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving you direct access to whatever the knowledge that he's gained.
Yeah.
And yeah, so also, right, let me get my thoughts straight around that. So why is it that I think of it exactly when you're talking, and then when it comes to me, I'm like, all right, I've got to hold this so that when it's my turn,
Because we are God's kings and queens. No,
I
I'm
say
joking.
what I want to say. So you're okay. So I was saying that you're not around people that could be self-actualized.
Yeah.
So
How are you
you
going to, yes, have an
how are
external
you gonna, yeah,
impulse?
right, how are you gonna move forward?
Right.
It's gonna be really, really difficult.
So if I can contribute to that, I don't know, did you want to say something?
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So this is where astrology kind of plays a story or a part in this, right? Because there is a belief that in every human life, what we will call as a midlife crisis is actually called a Saturnian retrograde. And it
Okay.
happens around from the years of the 26th year to maybe 30 or even further. Some people have it earlier, some people have it after. But basically, so we might have to go into this with someone who actually knows it because I'm still learning all of this stuff. But there is a way you can basically these seven planets, which, very interestingly are aligned with the seven deadly sins, are aligned with the seven hermetic principles, are aligned with the seven spectrums of color, etc., 7 days of the week. So these kind of tell a story, a poetic story of a man's life, right? So we'll focus on Saturn. When Saturn comes around, it's talking about reality. Saturn is you
7 days of
facing,
the week.
right? Yeah. So Saturn, the planet, okay, when it's in a certain position astrologically, it causes a certain reaction in certain people. Now, some people, debate the fact that, oh, is it actually the planet in this cosmological position or is it the Earth? And I can't answer those things. It's kind of complex. But for some reason, Saturn has something to do with this, where a human being kind of feels dissatisfied with his actual position and he hits reality, either rock bottom, but he hits a wall, okay,
Mm.
where it seems like the old him or the old, individual dies and he needs to give birth to a new himself, a new person. If not, he will actually cease to exist. Okay,
Mm.
we will call this the midlife crisis, the quarter life crisis. I've heard so many, on this. And, we experience it as we ask ourselves, the question, is there more to this or is this all that there is?
There is, yeah.
So, so this has been set up in. I understand in men, especially since we're still talking about the yin yang balance, masculine and feminine. In men, Saturn plays this part. In women, the menstrual cycle plays this part. We're going to talk about the menstrual cycle, red power as well. The menstrual cycle every month puts women face to face with what it means to be a woman and womanhood, and that whole cycle of, yo, what's going on in my life, what's going on within and what's going on without. It's huge. It's
Mm.
huge. So that's why some people still believe that, women mature faster than men because they have this cycle that activates earlier than in men, whereas men can go through, their lifetime and just be kids, babies, and, still be with
Well,
their
I mean,
boys and
it's
all that stuff.
without any spiritualism, you can definitely say women have a limited time by which, a more limited time by which they can reproduce.
Right, yeah,
And
so yeah,
if you want to reproduce, you must
wake up.
if
Yeah,
yeah, you have to be ready
yeah,
for a baby. I mean, that's a
mm-hmm,
big undertaking. So you
yeah,
can't. The more immature you are, there is an incentive for you to mature
right,
faster than a man,
yeah,
just because if you want to have kids.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that pretty much anyone, spiritual or not, would agree with that.
that's facts,
If they have,
bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
life thing.
yeah.
I would like to add something that came up and then I forgot. Now I've remembered again.
Oh, please share it with us.
If you are trying to be self-actualized,
Mm-hmm.
you said about being, in a place where it's highly sexually charged, or
Mm-hmm.
there's gluttony, or there's whatever.
Yeah.
Those people that can't control and find balance and have um uh, and not operate. So you have to create borders of control in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to create borders of control around all of those 7 principles.
Yeah.
Like there's a time to be lustful, and there's a
Yeah.
time to not be. There's a time to, I don't know, what are some of the other sins?
There's a time to envy. There's a time to be greedy, protective. There's a time to
Right.
display pride,
But
courage, or something.
if
Yeah.
you do those things to excess,
Mm-hmm.
without border,
Mm-hmm.
without discipline, and you'll just find yourself at the bottom of the pyramid.
Right.
In order to reach the top of the pyramid, you must be self-actualized. You must create discipline in your life. You
Right.
must create, and that's really hard to do.
Right.
If I'm walking down the street in DR,
Yeah.
first of all, any guy that's ever stepped foot in DR will tell you, I still struggle to find a place where there is per capita so many beautiful women. It's it's
Por Dios, pero esos
unbelievable.
tigres no son
And
fáciles.
then a woman that is basically like a model
Mm-hmm.
with curves all over the place
Voluptuous.
is offering you sex everywhere you go.
Right.
Women are offering you sex everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard not to accept that as a red-blooded male. And men go there and lose their mind,
That's correct.
get lost, and spend all their money, and just right.
That's right.
So it's, what kind of level of discipline would you need to go there and just like stay within a sort of sexual boundary?
Yeah.
It's really hard. And then the same thing could be said for food.
Yeah.
And some people would struggle more with this than others.
Yeah.
You have to be disciplined in everything you do. You have to find boundary and restraint and control in everything you do.
That's
and
right.
know when to engage
Mm-hmm.
in these things. When to be angry, when to let anger go, when to use aggression, when to not use aggression, when to use so to find balance, right?
Yeah.
And those that may be higher up the hierarchy,
Yeah.
and are trying to climb higher, or trying to maintain their position higher up the hierarchy,
Yeah.
the ones closer to the top of the pyramid, or the ones close to the top but maybe not there yet, I don't know, they can stay in their position by keeping those below them down.
In a constant loop. Yeah.
The constant state of so, well, if we keep them busy in media with sex and porn and social media, and we're just like, hey, don't go and become self-actualized. Don't go and become like disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch some more porn.
Yeah.
Just go on a chat room. Just go on a whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make the door so easy for you to walk through, to do all the stuff that ends you up at the bottom of the pyramid, or keeps you in sin. The sin we're talking about,
missing the mark of nature. Yeah.
Missing the mark of nature, right?
Yeah.
We're going to keep you there. And that is the same thing as it is harder for what was it?
It's harder for a rich man to go through the eye of
the needle.
Was it? Wait, no, it wasn't like that.
No, it's easier. No, the camel. It's
easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Right. There you go. That is a verbal symbol, the same as the symbol. That's another one.
Yeah.
Here's the door to. There's another one about the door being like really narrow.
Narrow. Yeah.
narrow is the door that the righteous something like
Yeah.
that. We have to become righteous.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to learn how to restrain. And the place you need to start is the place where you are weakest.
Mm.
If your
Right.
biggest issue is sex,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that you've got all the rest of your life in check. That thing is going to keep you from being self-actualized.
Mm.
If your issue is you don't know how to control your anger, if your issue is you don't know how to control your lust, you don't know how to control your gluttony,
Yeah.
you don't know how to control those things. So first of all, we must identify them. That is this identifying the 7 deadly sins.
Mm.
Then we can say, all right, how can we function in a way? Well, we can say these are all the qualities of the person that is not consumed by lust. Right? So I'm going to create the quality. I'm going to list the qualities of all of the person that is not consumed by lust.
Right.
And then I'm going to make this to help you describe that person. I'm going to make that person a being. If I make that person a being, now I've just created a God to worship.
That's it. Emulate that God. Yeah.
I'm going to emulate that the thing that contains the principles of self-actualization in that one field.
Yeah.
And then if I master across all fields, I can make a super being, and that super being is Jesus. You know,
that's it. Condensed Allah, Buddha. Yeah.
The highest representation of your greatest potential in self-actualization. At the top of the pyramid, you can be that person. And who knows what you could achieve, who you could be if you become him, if you follow him correctly. And that is the righteous path.
That's it. That's that. But then, we just, for those who are just joining us or listening in a further discussion and you haven't followed, please go and listen to our previous recording, because this would not make sense if you're just jumping on now. You would think we're a Christian right wing, some sort of extremist evangelical group. We're in no way advocating that there is only one path to self-actualization. Go and listen to our previous talks where we talk about archetypes, we talk about gods, we talk about the 7 hermetic principles, so that this would now make sense. And what you said is just true, bro.
You know, I've done so much talking on this episode, and I probably always do the lion's share of the talking, so I apologize if I'm a waffler. But now let's link this back to the very beginning. How can we use this kind of knowledge from that symbol, from the yin yang symbol? So the yin yang is just a signpost to this greater knowledge.
Yeah.
The symbol that we see, it's just a signpost. And there was an episode when we were talking about the Pompagira, and we were talking about those that actually really. The Pompagira is a deity that is worshipped in South America.
It's an archetype, deity archetype,
right.
Yeah.
It's a sexual archetype, right? Okay,
right.
So we were discussing previous episode how some people actively worship it, but others don't know they're worshiping it. But the way that they conduct themselves in life is subconsciously acting out the traits of that archetype.
Right.
The girl that doesn't know anything about burning the candles and praying, whatever. But she twerks and she uses she twerks on social media, and she uses her sexual currency to get where she wants to get to in life.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Well, if I want to pick a partner, maybe the partner has no idea about this yin yang symbol, has never thought about it, never cared about it, never thought twice about it. They may have come across it
Right.
maybe in a yoga class, but they don't know to the level that you and me are discussing what we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about.
Yeah.
But they display the subconscious traits of someone that knows what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So you meet, I'm a guy, I'm single, I meet a girl, and she says, I just want the man to play the man's role and the woman to play the woman's role.
Yeah.
I just want to be in balance with my partner.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to da, 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 da. They're now speaking the language without knowing of the symbol,
Yeah.
of the righteous path, of everything we've discussed in this thing.
Correct.
Now I have two options. I could date her, or I could come across someone that is like, I don't. If I get a partner, great. But if I don't, I can do it on my own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, well, that's your sign right there. They're speaking against the symbol. They're speaking against the truth, or in the context by which we were discussing earlier, they're speaking against God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can now actively make your choice, and I think that's the beginning of looking out of the eye at the top of the pyramid. I believe that's the beginning of it. I don't know if you can say you're enlightened, but like you're aligning yourself with, you make a choice in your life that's gonna kind of flow in that righteous path.
Yeah.
Through that kind of decision making process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's about being aware of this and listening to really what people are saying, what the environment is showing you.
Yeah, like I said, please go and listen to our previous recordings because it would make more sense. If you're just hopping on now, it would seem like we're throwing fiery darts at at you. But yeah, just make that effort. Go and watch our previous recordings, and this will make sense. But that's basically the juice of it. It's down the line, down the ages. It's been, and I think, like we said before, it's the work of the conscious to make the unconscious conscious of their unconsciousness. So down the line, sages, priests, Brahmins, babalawos, shamans, whatever you call it, they've had to adapt these principles to their culture, condensed down to the common denominator so that people could relate to. Because, it's still a few people that would understand that the Fibonacci sequence is God. Some people might even miss the whole part that you're saying, it's all an abstract language. So they would just think, oh, you're calling Fibonacci God, So down the line, all these people will have condensed and boiled down all these principles that would be 7 hermetic principles, the Fibonacci sequence, because we do see these repeating themselves in some way or some form.
And sadly, some points it's going to be watered down, but I think some points it's going to be actively sort of utilized against you.
Yeah.
For their own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to keep bringing up the Catholic Church, but
yeah.
I think when you're talking about a certain period of time where the Catholic Church run the world, they had a whole bunch of incentives outside helping people become self-actualized.
That's right.
And their laws and rules and whatever was perverted by that.
That's right. Yeah.
Their system was perverted by that. At some point, maybe they were self-actualized.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point there's individuals, maybe there still are today, that are self-actualized there. But
yeah, there must be
corrupted by man.
That's it. There are factions within factions within factions, and some are competing, some are collaborating. But yeah, one thing I've understood from why is there evil? There is evil because there is good. These are opposing forces. This is a dance of the universe that goes beyond our understanding. But yeah, it's just like once you get to the top, you now have the right to decide. Whoever is below that still cannot decide for themselves. You still don't have free choice because you're just choosing within the parameters that have been given to you. Once you're
You
out
know,
of all those parameters in the universal plane, now you have a choice whether to side with evil or to side with good. And,
I would really
you
like
know,
to discuss. I would really like to discuss on another episode, like
we
evil. Like, what
we,
is
we keep
evil?
postponing it, but it needs to, we need to face it, bro.
Because I'm wondering if evil in the traditional sense,
Yeah.
um, does it really exist? I,
Hmm.
I want to explore that idea. You could say, yeah, it does. Think about a guy that does torture, or a guy that kills women and children, or something like that. That guy's being evil. Okay, yeah, I accept that. But I guess evil exists. I, gue- I guess evil exists. Okay, so I think evil is when you know what the righteous path is, but you actively move against it.
Hmm.
I was trying to say, like, in nature, I guess there's some pretty dark things that happen in nature,
Right.
like in the animal kingdom and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that evil? Is that you know?
Hmm. That's
Or
balance.
is it balance? Yeah, is it balance?
Yeah. Well, was that a question or you making a statement?
I think let's leave that open, and
Yeah.
maybe we will address it on another day. Um,
Right.
and because there's probably a whole rabbit hole for us to go down there.
It is, bro. But yeah, essentially, I think the last time we talked about this philosophical concept called Frankism, that comes from this guy called Jacob Frank, a I would say Judeo-Christian, but then
Is that where the idea of being frank comes from?
I think I'm not sure, but that raises another question.
Right.
That might be it. And basically, you know, as the viewers can see, the question is what's behind the Franco-Sabbatean movement and its cult of evil? So now these people, Jacob Frank, believed that in order to do good, you needed to purge the world of evil, right? The only way to purge the world, evil out of evil, clean up evil, was to get dirty, start meddling with evil stuff. So, the only way you can clean the gutters is if you get dirty and jump into the
Yeah.
gutters, right?
Like the people that are coming to kill you with swords.
Yeah,
Well, to stop them killing you, you have to kill them with a sword.
that's basically it. Basically, that's it. So, they would actively practice evil things, okay? They will actively seek out evil thoughts. They will gather around, have meetings where they will come up with evil things to do. So,
Would they act out? Would they act out evil practices?
as far as my research goes, they would actually do these things because
Wow.
it was the only way by practicing these things. It was the only way to dig out evil out of society, out of the world, out of the universe. If you didn't practice it, it would just be hidden. It will create this karmic charge where it might happen out of your control. These people were on another level. I would say these people were on the self-actualized level, okay, and
Yeah,
beyond
but
that, yeah,
this is hard for me to get on board with. I mean, look, I understand the concept, and I think they're digging into something interesting.
yeah,
But I need to hear more. It's hard for me to go along with this. I think that evil will arise naturally. We don't
yeah,
need to go and actively
indulge in
create it.
it.
Yeah, like those that like you walk down a dark alley in a bad neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, evil
It's
could be
creeping on
created.
you. Yeah,
I mean, you know what? In fact, that's just evil is anyone that is not self-actualized.
has the
Or
potential to do evil.
yeah,
But even
yeah,
those who are actualized are doing evil right now as we speak. So this is where I think we need to straighten this out, and we might talk about it in the future.
We've
How
got to talk
people,
about this more.
but
We need to get to the bottom of it.
being self-actualized doesn't mean being good. You know, our definitions of good might be totally subjective. That's just the outcome.
So, but then there's the idea of being righteous.
Right.
Because I think the idea of being righteous is acting for the greater good of everybody, even if it inconveniences me in the now. And the definition of not being righteous is acting for my greater good,
Right.
at the detriment to everyone else.
Right.
I don't want this rubbish in my car, so I just throw it out the window.
Right.
But
Right.
now I'm littering the world for everybody.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I've got this bit of rubbish. I'm gonna take this rubbish and deposit it
And throw it in the
place
bin.
we've all
Yeah.
agreed. Yeah, like so that was a righteous act versus a non-righteous act. Anyway, let's wrap things up for today.
Right. We've put a lot on the table, but we've opened this discussion. Yeah. The difference between good and evil. Before we leave, I just wanted to read the definition of righteousness.
Okay, let's go.
Righteousness, yeah. Which I think there might be something we could tap into here. So
if it's anything to do, you see, okay, let's just read it.
So the definition I have here from a simple Google search is the quality of being morally right or justifiable. That's what I got.
Okay, that's good, but that's not deep enough.
Right.
Because who defines what is morally right or justifiable?
There you go. It's customs, rituals, society, traditions. It's so vast. It's not subjective. It's just the outcome for each group. What might be righteous to you might be a total sin for me. What is righteous to the Rothschild and the Rockefellers and all these families is sinful to me. I mean, is righteous to me.
I think a true righteous.
You think there's an objective righteous path?
Yes, I think there's an objective righteous path.
Right.
I think it cannot be righteous unless it's objective.
Right. So we're gonna leave this open, and we'll tackle it the next time. Then we have to, because this has got it so interesting, man. Yeah.
I'm very ready to change my opinion. You know, so
we're all learning, so obviously we have to make it a point to dive deeper into this. But if you've been following us, please share, like, follow, subscribe, join the discussion, comment, let us know what you'd like to listen to next time, and stay tuned with Agbarapa. It's been the utmost pleasure from me, Campbell,
and me, TJ.
and see you the next time.